Drivers Mate Podcast, back with another one. Thank you again for tuning in. I appreciate your time and I appreciate you spending time with me, right? Don't forget to check out the other videos in the Drivers Mate Podcast playlist and also my main channel at CNCCMI. Right now, subscribe if you could. It helps with the algorithm. It not only helps me, but it helps YouTube's algorithm build up and bring small content creators into the algorithm of its subscribers and for its discovery page, right? So thank you for that. Excuse me, right? Like I said, this is real people, real content, keeping freedom of speech free, right? So it's unscripted stuff. So expect real reality to happen, okay? Thank you for being here. Again, today I'm going to do another reaction style video, right? And you may notice the trend of this, but in all reality, a foundational point in all podcasts is reacting to information, news, or particular subject that's occurring, right? That is the foundational part of a podcast without the actual playing of the content they're reacting to. So anyway, now that you know that, I've shared with you some information you could potentially use to do something good with, right? Anyway, so what I usually do in a reaction style video is I go onto YouTube and I pick a YouTube short at random. You get my initial reaction hearing it for the first time, and then I also give a response or an opinion if I have one. Let's go.
The Council of Colors is in session once again. For those just joining us on this journey, we have been exploring the flavor of different colors. And I think that I found a color that is flavorless. I present magenta. Now, this is different than purple. It's much less natural. And therefore, it's not also great. I can't think of a single thing that this color tastes like. Because everything that tastes like purple is just a little bit darker of a shade of purple and isn't magenta. Either that or I'm just stupid. So I'm going to leave this one up to you guys.
Okay, there's a lot going on there. I think he's just having a laugh, right? He's just trying to be funny. But should you be grouping colours to flavours, right? I don't think that is a very sensible thing to do, right? And the reason I would say that is because of this. When we're talking about food and let's say contemporary food, the way food is manufactured now, right? I forget the word for it. It's not... Well, let's just say any food that is not single ingredient food, right? It's not all chicken breast, and it's not all apple, right? It's a mixture of different things, so a combination of ingredients, right? I forget the word for that, but when we're talking about food from that perspective, not to down Americans or anybody that thinks in that way, but a lot of the food laws over there and the way food can be manufactured is a lot less stringent than it is in Europe anyway, right? So they have a lot more food colorings and dyes allowed in their foods in America, right? And that's just a perspective from an Englishman in a van, right? What the hell do I know? But I've seen enough TV, I've watched enough stuff on YouTube and read enough stuff on the internet to know that Americans have different types of food, and we even have wholly Americanized shops here in England now that sell the stuff, well, some of the stuff that we don't normally sell in England, right? And it's for a pretty good reason. This stuff is not, it's not good for you, right? So anyway, as a kid, you may have associated colors with food, right? But what you fail to realize as a child, the ingredients and the actual color of the food do not coincide, right? You think of, for instance, when you go and pick up a green bottle of juice, right, you think that's apple or that's grape, right? But if you actually squeezed an apple, right, and not made it into a smoothie, and even if you did make it into a smoothie, it wouldn't be green, right? That's something they've added to it to make it green. If you squeezed a handful of grapes, it would not be green, right? So you need to understand that from a perspective, and if you're an adult and not knowing that, you've been under quite an illusion for a while, right? So there's a big part of food psychology at play whenever we're talking about, I forget the word, it's not, whatever the opposite of single ingredient food is, right? It begins with a C, I just can't remember it. But whenever we're talking about food like that, right, it is not the color does not represent the flavor, right? So to pair these colorings and flavorings, it's a marketing tool, right? You think things that taste like grape juice are purple, right? And like we just said, have you seen a purple grape yet? No, you've seen dark reddish grapes, you've seen almost black grapes, but you've never seen a purple grape, right? A purplish maybe, but the juice of the grape is not purple, just the skin is, right? So it's a marketing ploy that pairs these colorings, right? And then we add food dyes and all kinds of other things into the food to make it that color. So of course this man's never ran into a taste of magenta, because what is magenta? Magenta we just think of as a color that we need in our printing cartridges for our ink, right? So yeah, of course not, right? You get me? When's the last time you had blue cake and said this is the color of cake? You don't, right? Because you know whatever's in cake is a bunch of different ingredients that forms cake in the first place, right? And there is no blue natural ingredient that forms cake. So just think about it like that, right? It's funny, but it's silly. People should be more aware of that. The color of your food does not coincide with the flavor of your food, right? So just think about that. Anyway, that was quite short and nippy and nifty, if you want to call it that, whatever word you want to use. But anyway, that's my opinion on that, right? As silly as it is. You let me know what you think. Did I overanalyze it? Did I miss something, right? Am I just being a fool, or am I being on point with the fact that most of their food is so entrenched in colored dyes and all kinds of food psychology, marketing, branding, that they don't realize the color doesn't coincide with the food? Maybe he was just being funny for the point of it, just to be funny, right? So there's that. Let me know what you think. Check out my main channel at CNCCMI. Also like, subscribe and share if you could. It helps the algorithm, it helps the content be pushed to other people. You can reach me on all the social media platforms, and you can also now sign up for Patreon exclusive content and videos you want to see, right? Talking about things that you care about, right? Just real people doing real things, helping to keep freedom of speech free. So, Drivers Mate Podcast, thank you for your time. I'll see you later.